Welcome, Solar here. Happy new moon in Sagittarius to you guys. We're about an hour out from the official new moon. I am here to give you a new moon in Sagittarius tarot astrology ascension report, and it just so happens today that these energies are also aligning with the 12-12 portal, so it's an interesting overlap of energies that are occurring right now. But before I get into everything, I want to take a moment to welcome you. Thank you for being here. Thank you to those of you who are, support me on this channel, Solara Rises, as well as my other YouTube channel, Solara Speaks. And thank you to all of you who have been showing your love and your support across platforms on my Substack. I really do appreciate it. Welcome if you are here for the very first time. I invite you to stay and see if you're vibing with my energy and with my flow. And if you are, and if you do, I invite you to do the YouTube thing, to like, to share, to comment, to subscribe, to hit the notification bell if you want to know when I post. On this channel, I tend to post every other week because I will do a tarot astrology ascension report around the lunation cycles. And every now and again, when I have extra time, I might come in here and do something more. But just so you know, if you're new in these here parts, that's what I reserved this channel for. If you are interested more in, the energies that are happening as in terms of like the downloads I'm receiving, and card readings, that would be more Solara Speaks. And if you're interested in my writing and my energy, my daily about their daily energy reports at this point. I've been very much into the writing these days. Then please feel free to join me over on Substack, okay? And all that information will be in the description box below. But this has been a very interesting new moon. So Sagittarian energy, it does so many things for us. Following from Scorpio season, where we received a lot of angelic activations as we began to shed a lot of older energies in order to rise again, like the phoenix, through those phoenix activations. And it was through the last lunation, through the full moon in Gemini, I was picking up a lot of rainbow activations that were coming through. And now the Sagittarius energy comes with the fire to give us the passion and the drive and the ignition we need to move forward and to walk in the fullness of these activations. And Sagittarian energy is very much connected to angelic frequencies and activations in general. Sagittarius is the sign that reconnects us with our ability to live truthfully in our multidimensional wholeness on Earth, as we already are doing in the cosmos and have been doing. And Sagittarius is the energy that helps us to reconnect our light bodies with the capacity we need to be able to move like the multidimensional beings that we are. And Sagittarius energy also helps us to establish our own personal philosophies around our own magic and power. So we are able to live in ways that honor self while, of course, honoring the collective. So Sagittarius energy is a window into higher living. But this season, it really feels like the Sagittarius energy is very much honing in on love and the contracts that have kept us out of the ability to rise in the fullness of love. And it's interesting because last week on my Substack, on my Word for Your Day with Solara, there was this energy that was coming in that I felt that was here to deactivate a lot of the dysfunctional, I don't want to say it's deactivate the templates. The templates have already been deactivated. It feels like there was an energy that came in to clear away some of the mess that these dysfunctional group dynamic templates of the matrix had caused for us. And in doing so, at the same time, it was opening up the roads for us to be able to come into alignment with the groups that we're actually on a frequency level supposed to be, walking with. And I did an article on my Substack for my Daily Alchemy members. I think it was yesterday. I was writing about the family in the Matrix, and this is something I've talked about a lot, about how family is an institution that served the purposes, the energy harvesting purposes of the Matrix, to varying degrees. And the downloads I've been getting around that recently have taken me even deeper. And I'm not going to get into it too much tonight because that's more a topic that I'll delve into on my other channel, Solara Speaks. But I will say that I'm bringing it up because there's something about this new moon in Sagittarius that wants to extricate us from these really tight energetic binds that want to continually try to keep us stuck, but especially because of blood. Now, please bear in mind that karmically, contracts with families for divine beings who came in to help them expand in their God consciousness, as far as I know from the guidance I received surrounding that, those contracts expired in 2022 through the full moon in Capricorn. But just because the contract expired doesn't mean the energies that needed to play out in order for all of that to be materialized actually did. And it's interesting because as we move into Capricorn season, I feel like for many of us who've been dealing with these very stubborn energies that it's time to let go of, that we're going to see a lot more shifts in the material. And indeed, today, I think it's today that Mercury has stationed to go retrograde, and Mercury is already in the sign of Capricorn. So there are definitely some messages that Mercury is getting ready to impart with us, or impart to us, concerning the materialization of new group dynamics and what it means for us to come together on the earth planes and to share our value in ways that bring honor to self, one another, and the new earth. So let's get into this because I don't want to keep you guys here too long tonight. Let's get into the main energies around this new moon in Sagittarius. So the sun and the moon are going to be, we're about exactly an hour out now from the new moon, are going to be at 20 degrees Sagittarius, both of them, 20 degrees Sagittarius. And that 20 degree mark is the window that opens up into the third decan. So in some ways it is a sharing of the minor arcana Sagittarian energies of both the 9 and the 10 of Wands. It's the tail end of the 9 of Wands, and it's the opening of the 10 of Wands. So just with that being said, we see that there's some kind of liberation into the end of a cycle. Whenever we come up to a 9 in the tarot, that is connected to hermit energy. And hermit energy is the doorway into self-liberation that leads us into the Wheel of Fortune. And the number 10, which is the Wheel of Fortune, will always denote a simultaneous ending and beginning. Now, where we find ourselves on that wheel is going to be dependent upon the work we've done, is really what it comes down to, and where we are on this ascension. Okay, so the 9 and the 10 of Wands. Well, let's look at the 9 of Wands for a second. The 9 of Wands is an interesting card. The 9 of Wands, for me as a reader, has always been my generational curse breaker card. But it's deeper than just breaking the curses of family. The whole point, 22:33 on my clock, the whole point of breaking family curses on an individual level serves to also break those ancestral curses that have been keeping the earth in a state of imprisonment also. So there's something very grand that's happening through this new moon in Sagittarius, where there is this huge letting go of very, very stuck ancestral energies. And it's playing out for us in our individual realities, but it's also a collective energy because it's happening on the earth planes. And Sagittarius energy is what allows us to soar into our freedom. So there's some kind of doorway that the sun and moon in their position, this new moon in Sagittarius, they're coming together to line up to open a door into liberation, a door into freedom, a door that allows us now to fly and live in accordance with the truth of who we are divinely, because that's Sagittarian energy. Now, not for nothing, the 20, the double 20 we have here, that 20-degree mark, is a card of, it's the Judgment card. It is the Judgment card in the tarot. This is, again, the card that speaks of rising again. It speaks of rising from the dead. It speaks of rebirth. But it also speaks of those things that must close out for the cycle, for us to get to the world, for the cycle to close out, for the era to be closed completely. And there is a very strong energy right now. I've been picking up on it for the past week. A lot of family judgment, a lot of judgment of the bloodlines that have kept this matrix functioning. So the reason why many of you were let go out of your contracts with your families, if you were in a karmic situation back in 2022, was to also give them the ability to give everyone the ability to begin to sort themselves out and come into alignment with truth. There was a grand opportunity in the past year and a half for beings to get on the same page. But what we saw actually occur for most people is that if you are vibing with my energy, then what occurred for you was a lot of the hidden things that have been keeping you bound to these beings, to these narratives, they started to reveal themselves and be exposed. And in the revelation of those things, instead of family energies, sorting through this and healing, a lot of the old energy of repression and denial and even attacks started to come up instead. And now it feels like there are whole family lines now that are falling under judgment. What does that mean? Well, on the one hand, some of you, and it doesn't matter what bloodline you have incarnated through in this lifetime, you are here to form a brand new lineage in the earth. And as such, on an energetic level, that family, that bloodline is being cut and a new one is beginning. Now, of course, it's not something that we can necessarily fully make sense of with our mind if we just make it a material energy. Of course, your blood isn't necessarily going to change, etc. But it's about the energy of the lineages that are being now rooted into the new earth. There's also a grand split that's occurring on the earth planes now, and some would call this energy, in Christian circles, and I'll be careful with saying Christian circles because it's not actually biblical, but people talk about the rapture, right? And the rapture is actually, it's not really biblical. It's not in the Bible. At least the word rapture is not there. There's been a lot of narratives that have been pulled from the book of Revelation to create various narratives around this rapture energy. Now, as a person who has, lived and had experiences in Christian circles, that is an energy I've always tried to kind of stay away from. But it's very interesting in the past few days that, I don't want to say that word, but that concept has been rising up more for me to see, but not quite the way it's been introduced to me through these other rapture narratives. What I'm seeing, and this is just what I'm seeing, you don't have to agree with me, I'm seeing a split that's occurring where, and I don't know how it's going to occur. There will be a time where the old world will no longer be a part of the new earth. And I'm not here to engage in how that's going to occur. I have a lot of my own personal opinions around some of the ways other beings have expressed it. Not judgment, just opinions, and like desire for the message to come through for me on an individual level. But I will say that if ever there was an energy that supported this idea of rapture and the splitting of two earths, where there's one that's going to become new and there's going to be another earth where beings are going to continue to learn their karmic lessons through hardship, and the way I've been shown it, a lot of that energy has to do with the AI that has been introduced so rampantly at this time. If ever there was this possibility, this is the window that's opening into that right now, okay? And I'm being very careful in how I articulate this, because those kinds of discussions can really do something to the psyche of people who aren't really ready to receive the message in wonderful ways, but also in detrimental ways. So I want to be very careful in how I begin to entertain that message publicly, because I don't think for me as a channel it's time for me to go there publicly. But I will say, in being true to the energies, especially with this card being in judgment mode, and the judgment card being that card of rapture, if ever there was a moment in time where the planets are in alignment to open that possibility, it would be through this new moon in Sagittarius. And I say that not only because of the new moon, but also because of the fact that it's falling on the 12/12 portal. Now, the 12/12 portal is the final portal of the year, as we, see the year in accordance with the Gregorian calendar, right? But even if you, don't align with that calendar, it doesn't matter, because there's still a clear ending with that number 12. Okay, because the next portal that we're going to be stepping into in the next month is going to be 1/1, and then the 1, and then the 11/1, etc. So this is the final round of portals for the year, but it's also the largest number in terms of mirrored numbers that we deal with in portals in terms of our calendar. I hope that makes sense how I'm saying that. Now, this number 12 is very interesting, because the number 12 is connected with the Hanged Man in the tarot, which is the card of Neptune. And if you've been hanging with me for a couple of months, you know that when we entered into that space between Libra and Scorpio season, when we were transitioning into Scorpio season from Libra, there was a very clear window that was connecting us to what my guides were calling a Neptunian portal. And I do feel like there's something about this 12/12 portal that's wrapping up that energy that opened up right as the sun moved from Libra to Scorpio. And not for nothing, that switch from Libra to Scorpio energy in and of itself is kind of a transference of power, and it is very strong judgment energy because of the justice initiatives of Libra, but also because the judgment card is a part of Scorpio energy, and Libra and Scorpio are the signs that take us through the processes that we need to go through on a deep alchemical level in order for true justice and judgment to come forth. And it feels like through this new moon in Sagittarius and through this 12/12 portal, there is an element of judgment and justice that is getting ready to enter into our material realities and into the collective material experience. Okay. Now, the Temperance card is the card of Sagittarius in the major arcana, and the Temperance card is all about readying the waters and the land to receive the angelic activations and codes that are needed to, take us forward. and to take us into a new material reality is really what it is, because after the Temperance card comes the Devil in the tarot, and that is actually connected to our material contracts or the agreements we have with the earth or on the earth, or because we live in this dimension, right? So there definitely is this preparation for something that's about to shift quite magnanimously. I think that's the extent of what I want to go into right now with all of this, yes? I do want to say that on a side note, I was in meditation a few days ago, and I saw the sun and the moon meet in my meditation, and then I saw all of a sudden this beautiful star all of a sudden arise on the horizon as a result of the meeting of the sun and the moon. And it was really beautiful. It was a clear sky, there was a mountain, there were waters, and literally it was like it was an otherworldly experience of seeing the sun and the moon come back together. And that's what it felt like. It's like they were coming back together. And then all of a sudden a new star was born. And it's interesting because the star energy in the tarot is Aquarius, you know, so there's something about what's occurring right now that is really about to bring in some very real and tangible material shifts that indicate that this age of Aquarius is live. It's here. It's here. And it's time for the stars of this new age to take their place. It's kind of what it feels like. So Mercury is stationing at the 8 degrees of Capricorn to begin retrograding. Now, Mercury is here to give us our divine guidance. And so Mercury is sitting in the Devil energy and the Two of Pentacles. And the Two of Pentacles is all about the energies of something wanting to stabilize itself to properly ground into a real foundation. That's what the Two of Pentacles is. And so we've already been kind of having this conversation. Mercury's been speaking to us about what it's going to take to create new foundations, to ground in new ways of thinking, feeling, and being in order to create stability in these very broad concepts and activations that we're bringing back onto the earth. So Mercury's already been in conversation with us about this from the time they entered into Capricorn. And now Mercury has stopped at the 8 degree point, which is not for nothing. It is a degree of Scorpio, astrologically speaking, but tarot-wise, it is a Leo energy, so it's strength card, right? So just as something is about to push into being born, push into that state of wanting to be liberated materially, Mercury says, hold the brakes, let's do a little bit of review before we get these wheels moving forward. It's time to, when Mercury goes into retrograde, it's time for us to sit back and pay attention to the lessons of the previous Mercury, since the previous Mercury retrograde cycle, because it's getting ready to give us the information we need to move forward into the next cycle. And Mercury this year, very interestingly enough, has been, I believe it's been retrograding every time right before we enter into a new quarter of the zodiac wheel, which is telling you the importance of us coming back into alignment in order with true seasons and cycles, and Mercury helping us to do that. That's one way you can kind of intuit this message. But Mercury is helping us to get ready for something that wants to be materialized. And the interesting thing about Capricorn energy is I had a friend last year who told me that Capricorn energy, they said that they always kind of considered it more feminine, and that kind of blew my mind because, you know, I haven't been educated in astrology classically, you know, but I still had bought that whole narrative of Capricorn being a masculine energy, and they said to me, oh no, Capricorn is actually, can also be seen as being a feminine energy, and I was just like, oh, okay. So when they said that to me, I began to notice certain things about all of the signs of the zodiac and how, well, I don't want to go into the full, that's a whole other rabbit hole, but I will say that Capricorn, to me, now, having been through this year and having received so much more information by way of channeling the planets now, Capricorn, and channeling the planets and the constellations, but Capricorn feels very much like Earth Mother energy to me. It feels like I say to you guys, the Divine Mother, for me as a reader, really expresses herself through Cancer, Virgo, and Scorpio. But those are all, even though Virgo is an Earth energy, it's still an energy that's to do with the self. It's in the house of self, and Capricorn, of course, is the collective energy, but it's also the energy, because its sister sign is Cancer. We have the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. They are both energies that are very much responsible for the overall energetic foundations and resonances that kind of run the earth. And so Capricorn feels to me like a materialization of the Divine Mother, and more than anything, that Capricorn energy is about our true agreements with the earth. So on the one hand, the Devil card in the tarot represents this also, but we often will look at it in a negative way. We think of it as the binds and the contracts and the things that get us stuck here. But all energy has, you know, polar opposites. And so in its evolved state, this Capricorn energy is about the true agreements we have with the earth. And the true agreements we have with the earth as divine beings, high frequency beings, is we are here to enjoy her fully, but we are also here to love her, to nurture her, to protect her, to give of our value to her so that she can also grow and multiply in her bounty, so that whenever it is we decide that it's time for us to move forward, we've left the earth in a better state than what we entered her, you know, being. So I say that because, you know, outside of the matrix, on a divine frequency, on a divine level, we're not actually supposed to die from sickness and the ways we've been dying. That is actually not divinely how it's supposed to be. And so we are here for as long as we need to be here, or we want to be here, to experience our godhood and to be love and to trade and to share love and to grow love in a physical body. And so there's something here about the preparation of not only the material realm, but it's like a preparation of our own mental and emotional energies to begin to bring this forth again. Okay, so that's really what I'm getting. I feel like this Mercury retrograde is going to begin to kind of cross some T's and dot some I's concerning situations and issues that we need to deal with to close out the contracts that have bound us to the old world once and for all. So where we still have attachments that we need to deal with, that we're not able to take forward into the new earth, this Mercury retrograde is going to want to talk to us about that. And even the fact that it's expressing itself at the 8-degree mark as it stations to go direct speaks to us about that, because that Leo energy, it's the Strength card energy specifically, it speaks of those things that challenge us, especially in our ego. Yes, that we need to address in order to come deeper into our heart. And of course, with the 8 being a Scorpio energy, this is something that we're going to have to go deep into the waters of our own souls to break ourselves free from some of these contracts that are so deeply embedded in who we've become. It's not necessarily contracts we have to clear on the earth, physically, so much as it is the energy within that still supports those things. Because once we deal with the energy within, the energies without that have been supported by our clinging to certain narratives, they will collapse too. So we have Venus in Scorpio at 9 degrees, speaking of that deep Scorpio energy. And Venus is that divine feminine energy that planetarily helps us to birth and to earth beauty. It's what connects with, for me, Venus is what allows Neptunian energies to come to life here on Earth as they exist in the higher realms. And Neptunian energy is what we call, is what connects us to higher octaves of love. And Neptune is taking a big, Neptune is very much center stage in these energies right now, because Neptune literally just went direct last week. So we're still adjusting to Neptune picking up again, right? And Neptune is in Pisces at a Piscean degree, 24 degrees. So again, this is about, because the 12-12 portal, I don't think I got into this, I forgot to go there, but that 12 number is a Piscean number, right? It is the 12th house, as is this number 24 that Neptune's in. So again, we're seeing this mirroring of energy, this Neptunian Piscean energy that is coming, that is speaking to us through this new moon and this 12-12 portal. And again, the 12th house is that energy of hidden enemies, but it's also what connects us to the miracle. That's the Piscean energy, and it's what connects us to our ability to ascend out of here. So there's a lot going on, as I'm sure you feel. There's a lot going on through the energies of right now, and you could even say that, that 24 degree mark of Neptune in Pisces, as well as the 12-12 portal and that number 12, which is again Neptunian energy, because it's the hanged man or the hanged one energy, and with Pisces being the last sign on the zodiac wheel that actually helps us to return home to our innocence, you could really say that this is another energy that is supporting this whole concept of the possibility of rapture-like experiences that could happen on the earth planes. Who knows? Anything is possible, right? That's what Sagittarius helps us to remember. This is what this moon is opening us up to, the remembrance of everything being possible. So back to the Venus in 9 degrees of Scorpio. So that 9, we have this 9 number that is connected in tarot to Virgo, the number of self-liberation, the number of breaking free, but the number of breaking free alone, because the number 9 is always speaking of a journey that we have to go through alone. It's like birth and death. We cannot... these are things that no one else can do for us. And the journey of ascension is a constant birthing and dying and going through these cycles to be ultimately reborn into our divine truth. And it's something we have to go through alone, because it is a journey that we have to take through our souls. And so this Venus in Scorpio at 9 degrees is calling us deeper into the waters of our souls to find our way forward. And there's been a lot of commotion over the past few days of voices that are wanting to override intuition, whether you felt it rise within yourself internally, whether you feel other beings' projections, or whether people have been more vocal about it. There's been a lot of trying to enforce old ideas kind of wrapped up as being new in order to plant seeds of doubt where it is that we are being intuitively guided. And right now, more than anything, we've got so much that's telling us it's time to go within. And that, that hermit energy has been coming out so much for me this week. And I was joking in my word for your day yesterday because it came out again. Because when the hermit comes out, I'm like, how hermited are we supposed to be at this point? And the way my guides are showing me is like the doorway out of all of this, you can only find it within. It's that serious. It's that serious. And this is why there's been an onslaught in energies that are wanting to kind of dictate our paths right now, or kind of monopolize our energy. And it happens in very subtle ways, and yet the effect is very visceral. It's very real, is how I've been feeling it and observing it. So just be aware that right now, this journey out of here, the doorway out is, it's in the deep Scorpio waters, the birthing of the Neptunian energies, the divine contracts, the bringing heaven onto earth, the divine love, the divine unions. All of that is occurring through us going within and being so loyal to our own individual path and journey. Okay, so something is being born through the Scorpio energy, right? The Venusian energy is the Empress. It's all about creation, divine feminine creation and birth. And another thing that was coming through a lot was this putting back together of everything. Things that were fragmented before to keep the matrix alive are coming back together. It's happening in a myriad of ways. On the one hand, those deities that were split, that they were split because of the binding of the Divine Mother, they're coming back together in cohesive form as she continues her rise here on Earth. That's one thing. But even in the tarot, my guides were leading me to this idea that in the major arcana, there are two divine feminine principle characters, and there's one masculine. There's the emperor, but then there's the empress and the high priestess. And you hear a lot about, like in readings, people talking about someone being an empress and someone being a high priestess, and there's still this division of the energies. And the truth of the matter is that the Empress and the High Priestess exist in split form in the tarot as a reflection of the fact that the Divine Mother was purposely split on the earth planes to uphold a false mother system. And there's a coming back together. I've been talking about a lot of divine feminine activations, and that is not at all to minimize what is occurring in terms of the divine masculine activations also, but it feels like the divine masculine energies of this planet right now, their main position right now is to support the feminine activations that are happening for all of us, regardless of gender. So the masculine has provided the container for the feminine to come back together. Okay, for the mother to come back together. So there's a beautiful dance that is occurring right now between the Divine Father and the Divine Mother. But the Divine Mother, she is center stage because she was the one who they had to fragment the most, because everything is born by her and through her materially. Yes, she is the womb. So all energies must come through the womb. But anyway, this Venus in Scorpio at 9 degrees, it just feels like there's a grand birthing, but this birthing is also of destruction. Because, Venus in Scorpio, that scorpionic energy, it's death, it's tower, it's judgment. What it's not sustaining the rise of the Divine Mother now. We've gotten to a point of ascension where those things must be destroyed materially now too. Venus is to do with the earth, right? And we're moving into Capricorn. We're dealing with energies of the earth. We're dealing with materialization now of these energies. So moving now into Mars, which again, you know, it's interesting. It's 13 degrees Sagittarius. So we got the liberation of the Divine Mother showing herself here through Mars, just as I mentioned the position of the Divine Father, right? So Mars is still in that energy that I was picking up last time, where it's just like the sun and the moon have gone ahead, and Mars is like, what do you need me to do? It's kind of like coming in behind and making sure that all access and entry points are sealed off, so those things that are supposed to be left behind are left behind. Mars is tailing behind the procession, you could almost say, to make sure that everything is safe and nothing is going to move forward that's not supposed to. That's kind of what I'm picking up. And Mars is in heavy protection through this new moon in Sagittarius of the Divine Mother, in heavy protection of those energies that must die and those energies that must be born again, because we have Mars expressing himself through the 13-degree mark. And of course 13 is a number of the Divine Mother. It is connected to the death card in the tarot. So you can see how there's a lot of overlap of energies we're dealing with right now. Even though we're in Sagittarius season, all of the signs work together to accomplish the same goal. And you can see how Sagittarius is here bringing forth those Phoenix activations that Scorpio allowed us access to. So I say that because there's a lot of Scorpionic energy that is at work. I think in every placement we've looked at so far, there's a touch of Scorpio. The 20-degree mark of Sagittarius that the sun and the moon are in, 20 is the judgment card. That's Pluto. It's also a card of Scorpio. But 20 is a degree of Scorpio, astrologically also. So we've got that Scorpio energy expressing itself, underpinning the degrees of the sun and the moon. And then Mercury, stationing now to go retrograde, is at 8 degrees Capricorn. That 8, again, is an astrological degree of Scorpio. Then we got Venus in Scorpio. There you have it. More Scorpio energy. It's more like bam through the Venus, right? And then we've got Mars expressing itself through a tarot energy of Scorpio with a 13. So we've got some kind of Scorpio underpinning energy, or Venus center stage energy, that's happening throughout this process, showing us that what has occurred in Scorpio season is being brought forward by the power of Sagittarius, because come Capricorn season, something is going to be born materially. Now this can be on a personal and a collective level, you know, take it as it resonates with your own soul. But this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm intuiting about these energies as I look at this chart. Now, the last one I'm going to look at, and then I'm going to call it a night, is Jupiter. We've got Jupiter still retrograding through Taurus, and it's at 6 degrees. And that 6-degree mark is a degree in the tarot of Gemini, and in astrologically a degree of Virgo. But either way, we've got Jupiter expressing itself through Taurus with very magnified mercurial energy through the 6. And Mercury is how spirit speaks to us. It's how instructions are set forth. And the 6-degree mark of Taurus is 5 of Pentacles energy, and Taurus energy is of course the Empress and the Hierophant. So we're talking here about the birthing of well, it doesn't necessarily have to be the birthing. Let's say we're just having a discussion still. Jupiter is helping us to expand our own personal philosophies around the ways we've been systemically programmed into lack. Hierophant has to do with systems and institutions. The Empress, of course, has to do with the birthing. We are being challenged to come back into alignment with our true worth. Taurus has to do with our true personal worth, not as dictated by systems and institutions, but as first dictated by source. Taurus is where we begin to connect with our value based on our I am truth. And so Jupiter is helping us to almost like create a personal philosophy, also, supported through the Sagittarius energy, which is the sign it rules, but it's sitting in Taurus. So it's helping us to come up with true philosophies of who we are in terms of our real, intrinsic, innate, divine value. And in doing so, it's helping us to undo the lack programming, which is the Five of Pentacles energy, in order to better align, the number 6 is the Lover's card, with the divine contracts and the frequencies we need to enter into them. Right? And because it's still retrograding, I think it's coming out of retrograde soon. I think it's the next planet that's going to come out of retrograde. Because it's still retrograding, it is helping our soul come up with the remembrance of certain things we need to accomplish this goal, which I'm sure when Mercury starts to go retrograde, it's jumping in there. It's stationed right now, it's going to be retrograde as of tomorrow, but when Mercury starts to, make progress through its retrograde period, I'm sure it's going to also support further revelation of where it is we still need to come into higher alignment with our own personal value system. Because, like I said to you, with this Mercury energy in retrograde, it's going to be challenging us to find those parts that have been so deeply rooted and ingrained and programmed by the matrix that we have, 11:11 on my clock as I say this, that we have kind of dismissed it as being a part of our truth. So, yeah, that's what I have for you guys. North Node, let's take a quick look. The nodes are 21 degrees. So this again is the world. This is the world. And because the nodes are pulling back, the next stop will be the 20 degrees. So there will be more pulling into judgment energies. But the 21 degree energy that we're at today, as we have the new moon in Sagittarius, we have something that is something big that is occurring in terms of the closing out of this era, as it pertains very specifically to the full reclamation of our ability to be sovereign. And again, with the the South Node in Libra, this is also the energy that has been supporting the undoing of the group dynamics that have led to our societal downfall, you could say. So that's what I have for you. I hope that this reading was helpful and insightful. I wish you guys a very happy new moon in Sagittarius and 12 portal. I'll see you again, as I say that. It's 11:12 on the dot. I will see you again next time for the new moon. Wait a minute, full moon in Cancer. My bad. Full moon in Cancer in 2 weeks. What else? Yes, for all information on how to work with me, if you'd like to support me over on Substack, if you would like to buy me a coffee or donate to the channel, all that information is going to be in the description box below. And I'm so grateful and appreciative for all the ways that you guys help me to do what it is I came here to do at this time. So, yeah, I wish you guys all the best. Until next time, be well.